Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to price your AI called email offer to scale fast. So pricing is the fastest lever in your business. Most things take time to change. Building an audience takes months, getting better at sales takes repetitions, and building case studies takes clients. But pricing is different. You can change it today. And when you change it correctly, the effect on your business is immediate. You get better clients, high revenue per engagement, more margin to reinvest, and sales conversations that feel completely different. This doc covers how to think about pricing your AI cold email offer, what happens at each pricing bracket, how your sales process needs to change as you move up, and the one pricing principle that overrides almost everything else. This is part of an ongoing series where I'm documenting my cold email campaigns and agency building in real time. If you're new here, my name is Dominic Schwantes. I'm the founder of Workflows, a B2B AI lead generation agency. I document everything I do in real time, the campaigns, the systems, and the results. What you'll find in this document is based on what actually works, not some theory. So before getting into brackets and sales processes, there's one principle that's worth understanding first. Never exist in the middle. This isn't a novel concept, but it's one most agency owners violate without realizing it. There are two viable pricing positions. Either you price high, where you can charge a premium price that signals value, requires fewer clients to hit your revenue goals, and attracts a different caliber of buyer, or volume, where you price excessively but are intentional about the fact that you'll need to sell more of it. The middle is the worst place to be. Too expensive for clients who make quick decisions, not premium enough to signal real authority to the clients with the budget to pay more. You end up in no man's land where neither group is fully attracted to you. For an AI cold email agency specifically, the leverage is in the product, meaning that you don't need to price low to be competitive. The cost of delivering the service is relatively contained. The ROI for a client who gets results is significant. That combination points towards pricing high, not towards the middle. If in doubt, charge $5,000 or more. The AI space has significant leverage built into the delivery. That leverage should be reflected in your pricing. So the first pricing bracket is anywhere from $5,000 and below. Charging anywhere below $5,000 and particularly close to that $1,000 to $2,000 mark tends to attract a specific type of buyer. People who are testing the waters without real commitment, and people who will blame external factors if results don't come immediately. They are people who are price sensitive by nature and will negotiate, dispute, and second guess at every turn. This isn't a universal rule. Some excellent clients operate at lower price points, but as a pattern, lower prices attract lower commitment. The closer you get to $5,000, the more this changes. The buyer at $4,500 is meaningfully different to the buyer at $1,500. The practical consequence is that if you're working in this range, you'll need more clients to hit your revenue goals, you'll spend more time managing relationships that are more likely to be difficult, and your margin for error on delivery is smaller because clients at this price point are less patient. That said, the sub $5,000 range is not a permanent trap. It's the starting point most people operate in when they have no case studies and need to build proof. The strategy is to use that phase deliberately, get the results, document them, and use them to justify moving up. The mistake is staying there indefinitely out of a belief that you can't charge more or that the market won't support it. It will. You just need the evidence to back it up, and the only way to get that evidence is to start. Now the next bracket is the $5,000 to $10,000 range. At $5,000 and above, the client profile shifts noticeably. These are the buyers who understand that results take time, who have a higher risk appetite, and who are more invested in the partnership working out. As you move through this range and approach $10,000, the expectation for the offer changes too. A blanket one-size-fits-all offer becomes harder to sell at this level. Buyers at this price point want to feel that the offer has been tailored to their specific situation. This means either genuinely customizing the engagement based on their business or being specific enough in your positioning that the right buyers self-select. One way to create this specificity without rebuilding the offer from scratch is to niche down in how you describe who you work with. Saying you only work with B2B businesses above a certain revenue threshold or in a specific industry communicates selectivity and focus. That alone can justify pricing at the higher end of this range. The other thing worth understanding at this price point is that testing matters. The right price for your specific offer in your specific niche is something you find through experimentation, not calculation. If in doubt, try higher. See where the conversations hold. If your deals are closing consistently, try higher again. If conversions drop noticeably, you found the ceiling for where you are right now. The ceiling moves up as your authority grows. And the last bracket is the $10,000 and above range. At this level, the offer always needs to be genuinely bespoke. The buyer has specific needs, a more complex business, and higher expectations of what they're getting. You're not selling a packaged service at this point. You're selling a tailored engagement built around their situation. This doesn't mean it's harder to sell. It means the sales process is different, which we'll cover below. The buyers at this level are also different in a specific way that matters. They're not evaluating whether they can afford it. They're evaluating whether you're the right person to do it. That shifts the entire nature of the conversation away from price justification and toward demonstrating competence, experience, and specificity. The proposal and the quality of the discovery call carry most of the weight at this level. Pricing is not just about the number, it's a signal. A high price signals that you're selective, that your offer produces real ROI, and that you work with serious buyers. That signal alone changes who reaches out and how those conversations go. So this is how the sales process changes at higher price points. As pricing moves above roughly $5,000 to $7,000, the sales process needs to evolve. A single call and a verbal yes is less reliable. The stakes are higher for both parties, and trust needs to be built more deliberately. At this level, the standard approach is a two-call close. Call 1 is a discovery. The first call is not a pitch, it's a diagnostic. You're trying to understand their business, identify the problem, and determine whether you can generally get them a result. Approach it like a consultant, not a salesperson. Ask questions and listen more than you speak. Try to understand where they're losing time, leaving money on the table, or experiencing friction that AI cold email could solve. There are two important things to establish on this call. Firstly, whether you can actually help them. If you can't, say so directly and end the call. Taking on a client you can't get results for is worse than not taking them on at all. Secondly, whether they're serious. If they're reluctant, hesitant, or trying to negotiate before they've even heard the full offer, that's a signal about how the engagement will go. Don't try to convince reluctant buyers. Be willing to walk away. If the conversation goes well and there's a genuine fit, you close the first call by telling them you'll put together a proposal. So between calls, you build the proposal. This doesn't need to take long. Feed the transcript of the first call into an AI model and ask it to produce a detailed proposal covering the situation, the proposed solution, the deliverables, the timeline, and the expected ROI. AI will produce something more thorough than most people write manually in a fraction of the time. The proposal is a trust-building asset. At this price range, a significant part of closing is the accumulation of small signals that you're professional, that you listened, and that you can execute. A detailed, well-structured proposal is one of those signals. It shows the prospect that you understood what they told you and that you've thought carefully about how to solve their problem. Send the proposal via email and ask for their thoughts, and then schedule the second call. Now, the second call is where you address questions from the proposal, handle any remaining objections, and ask for the decision. By this point, if the first call went well and the proposal was solid, most of the selling is already done. The second call is a confirmation, not a persuasion. Present the pricing clearly. If the engagement warrants it, offer a payment structure split across milestones. Businesses at this level generally have the capital to pay for what they need. The structure is more about reducing friction and building confidence that they're only paying for completed work than it is about affordability. The two-call process is not about dragging out the sales cycle. It's about doing the work upfront that makes the close feel inevitable rather than forced. One practical reality about pricing is that what you can charge is partially a function of how visible you are. A business owner who has seen your content, read your docs, or heard about your work will pay more than a cold prospect who found you through an outreach email. Content doesn't have to come first. You can definitely start charging higher prices without a large following. But authority, whether built through content, case studies, referrals, or simply the professionalism of your sales process, is what sustains premium pricing over time and makes each sale easier than the last. In the absence of content or a large following, the proposal, the quality of your discovery call, your speed of response, and the clarity of your communication are all doing the work that a personal brand would otherwise do. Every touchpoint in the process is building or eroding trust. Now, this is worth sitting with. Most people treat the sales process as a necessary overhead between outreach and getting paid. But at higher prices, the sales process is a significant part of what you're selling. A prospect who goes through a well-structured discovery call, receives a thorough proposal within 24 hours, and gets timely responses to their questions has already experienced something that tells them you're organized, you listened, and you followed through. That experience is doing real work before the engagement even starts. Conversely, a slow proposal, a disorganized call, or vague answers to direct questions will erode trust at this price point faster than they would at lower ones. The higher the price point, the more non-verbal signals matter. One other thing worth mentioning is about recovering your infrastructure costs. Domains, inboxes, leads, and sending software have a real monthly cost. Structuring that as a pass-through to the client, rather than absorbing it into your margin, keeps your economics cleaner and makes the cost of delivery transparent. This doesn't work in every situation and isn't always necessary, but at higher price points where clients are more sophisticated, it's a reasonable conversation to have. The framing is straightforward. Tell the client that the infrastructure costs are separate because they're real operational costs that belong to the campaign, not to your service fee. Domains, inboxes, and lead lists are assets being built for their business. It's logical that they pay for those directly. This framing also reinforces transparency, which feeds back into the trust-building process at higher price points. So, what this means for you. Pricing is the one variable you can change today that affects everything immediately. Who reaches out, how those conversations go, how long it takes to hit your revenue goals, and how much of your time gets consumed by difficult client relationships. So to summarize, charge what the work is worth, avoid being in the middle, build the sales process that matches the price point, and keep testing upward until you find where your conversions hold. That's the whole approach. So that's all I have for you today. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any new videos, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.